So I'm Rob Pardo. I'm the Executive Vice President of Game Design at Blizzard Entertainment, and I'm also the Executive Producer of Diablo 3. We've been working on the game for quite a few years now because the game was originally being worked on up at Blizzard North. And when we closed the studio and moved the project down to Irvine, we kind of did a big reboot on the project. So I guess it's probably been about 3 years, I think, since then. And as far as why we're announcing now, well, it was just kind of the right time for the game. You know, the game's really far along, and you know, it's really fun to play already. Even though we're not, you know, having a playable build here at the show, it's pretty far along, and it's already a fun game to play. So we just felt like it's the right time to announce the game, and a great place too.
Yeah.
Oftentimes with Blizzard games, you know, we go down a path for like a year and a half on a game, and then once the game actually starts becoming playable and we have the early prototypes, you know, we kind of stop and look at the game, you know, and have a lot of other people within the company look at the game and really decide, okay, where do we want to go with it? And that process has happened on StarCraft 2, it's happened on the first StarCraft, it's happened on Warcraft 3, it even happened on WoW, so it's really nothing new. It's just that was kind of the right time period, was when we moved the project down here to really kind of take stock, look at where the game was going and what we really ultimately wanted to achieve with the product. As of today, we have obviously both the Barbarian and the Witch Doctor are fully playable, and one of the things that was, you know, I know a small thing to the world of RPGs, but it's still kind of a cool thing in the Diablo universe. You know, now we have gender on each of the classes, so, you know, if you want to play the Witch Doctor, you can do male or female. So we have male and female versions of both those classes, and we have, I think, most of the other classes are actually playable back in their home office, but I'm not going to tell you about them today. And, you know, most of the kind of the first act is also pretty playable, but we still have a long ways to go. You know, mainly on the content side now. You know, the kind of the moment-to-moment gameplay, the classes, the skills. You know, we also have multiplayer up and running, but now it's really about generating content. The biggest thing that you can see from watching the demo today, and one of the reasons why we showed the Barbarian, because we thought it'd be great for people to be able to kind of see a demo of a class that they have kind of played with before, and see how not only has that class evolved, but how has the game evolved since Diablo 2. And one of the things that we're really trying to bring with the game is making a much more immersive, visceral experience, and that's something that we really wanted to bring with this game. And, you know, we kind of, you know, played a lot of God of War, games like that, and while totally different genres and different types of games, but we really felt like we could bring a lot of kind of what's cool about a game like that into the Diablo universe. And I think that's ultimately what you see with the Barbarian, is, you know, he obviously is going to have a lot of new skills, he's going to have some skills that come over, but even the ones that you might be familiar with, you're not going to be familiar with, you know, just how cool they are, and, you know, the different sort of death animations, and the, you know, the physics in the game, and it's just, you know, such a cooler, more immersive, visceral experience than I think you've seen before. There's definitely a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be announcing more in the loot system and the armor system in the future, but the biggest thing I would say is we know where our bread's buttered on this license, and we totally understand that, you know, people really want to get the cool items. They want to get the cool armor sets. They want to be able to collect cool loot, make the character look cool, be able to trade with other players online. So we're going to deliver on all that. With World of Warcraft, you know, we have all the different, you know, realms with smaller communities of players. With Diablo 3, we're not going to kind of relegate people off into those realm concepts like we did. It's going to be much more global. You know, within any you know, Earth region, you know, like North America, you'll be able to play with any player there. You know, you don't have to find out what realm they're on and then transfer your character or anything like that. So I think the biggest problem you see in WoW, as it pertains to things like matchmaking, is just kind of player populations. You know, because everyone is kind of segregated off onto like one realm of like 200 or 300 different realms for whatever region you're in. So just imagine if all those players were in one place and you can match against any of them. So that's probably the biggest thing that we've learned from WoW, and we kind of already learned this lesson with Warcraft 3, which I think has a great matchmaking system. So I think War 3 is a better example of what you might expect with Diablo 3 than WoW would be. You know, if you look at Diablo 1 and 2, they're very, I mean, they obviously had the gothic look to it, but you know, they weren't very colorful games. And one of the challenges we want to take with Diablo 3 was, could we add color but still maintain that gothic dark feel? You know, because I think we want to take more of dark as an emotion rather than actual color or art choice. And I think that's something that you know, it took a long time to get to the point where we're at now. Like, we've probably gone through at least 3 different pretty major art direction shifts until we got to the point where we're on stage, because I think it's really difficult to be able to pull that off. But we're really happy with the look of the game now. You know, each game we make, and especially when we do sequels, we really kind of sit down and decide what is it that we want to accomplish to this game. And with this particular game, we want it to be a true sequel, so we want it to be very familiar. And some of the things we really wanted to bring over was, you know, we want to have a great loot system. We want to have real action-based gameplay. We wanted to have, you know, all the cool monsters, the cool, you know, kind of hell vibe. But there's so many new things we can do too. You know, we really want to have much more interesting scenarios. We want to have a much more visceral feel to the game, and we want to have a, and this is another challenging part of it, is we want to have a more immersive, interesting story experience without taking away from the action-packed feel of the first couple Diablos. And I think that's another challenge we've really been taking on, is trying to make it feel more like a more kind of traditional RPG, but without taking away from the action elements. We've been sitting here talking about Diablo 3, which is a game we just announced today at the Worldwide Invitational. And since we're Blizzard, you know, we're going to go ahead and announce the release date of it'll ship when it's ready.